What exactly do I finance versus purchasing outright in cash?
You again.
Hey, what's going on everyone? Hayden here, coming back at you with a brand new video. And in this one, we're going to do something that we never have done on the channel, and that's talk about money. I'm just kidding. But in this one, I want to break down what I actually decide, and this is a personal thing, everybody's going to be different, what I personally decide to finance versus buying cash, okay? And this gets a little controversial. I guarantee there's gonna be people giving their suggestions in the comments, and I welcome it. I really do. Share your opinion. I would love to read it. I would love to have a discussion with you. But here is how I structure my spending, both personal and business, okay? So the keys that I showed you here, which is a little bit of a cheesy, ridiculous introduction. This key, I actually just picked this up this morning about 3 hours ago. This is to a new house. This is meant to signify my real estate investments, okay? And we're gonna get into that. All these other keys and whatnot, these are meant to signify my vehicles. So other than that, I really don't buy anything, and I don't feel the need to bring anything else into this discussion. Business investments, if I'm funding a co-owned software business with someone, or if I am doing a private money loan for 3 weeks where I'm loaning X amount to someone, that's me. I have to spend the money, right? If I'm booking something like, I know you can book a trip and your plane ticket, you could finance it. I don't do that. I book most of it with points. So the topic is irrelevant. So today, we are just going to be talking about real estate, any sort of properties, and we're going to talk about cars, my two biggest purchases, okay? So the way that I structure everything is super simple. Is it an investment that will make me money or not? And what is the long-term purpose of it? Now, I know there's people who love to put as little money down and finance everything so that they could, they might try and say they build their credit that way. But in reality, it's to put less money down so maybe you could acquire more things. I don't know what you'd be purchasing exactly. It could be cars, houses, whatever. But to have more leverage, right? You can leverage, assuming you have good credit, you can show multiple years of tax returns and you can get that financing approved for. That's great. For a lot of people, that makes sense. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to real estate specifically, a lot of people got torn to bits and pieces because they were overfinanced when the crash happened. So someone might owe $200,000 on a house that's now worth $100,000. So that's where you can get into issues, and it's up to you to know that and assume the risk before making an investment. However, let's break down my specific purchases and what I do buying cash. So to make it really, really simple for you, I buy everything in cash except for real estate. Okay. Now I'm going to explain the reason behind that, but let's talk about cars first. Whether it was my BMW, the Lamborghini, every single vehicle I own, actually, except for the BMW, I totally forgot about that. Every single vehicle I purchased outright. The reason that I financed my BMW, I got it at 17. I was able to get a cosigner. That was for the purpose of building credit. I actually still have it financed to this day. It's basically free money. The interest rate is like 2.4%. So dirt cheap, and that does help build credit. It's just history, and especially when you're young, it is important to have more things on your credit file. And that has played a role in then being able to get real estate for sure. So all the vehicles I purchased in cash. And I know multiple people who have both told me directly and would probably tell me that that is a stupid purchase. But let me explain why I do it and why it makes sense to me. Look, someone could come on this YouTube channel and they could say in the comments section, Hayden, you make money off the cars because you make videos, right? And you get ad revenue, and that might be true at the end of the day. I mean, there's a little bit of depreciation. Maybe it evens out. That's probably roughly what it is. At the end of the day, even if I was, doing crazy YouTube, making a bunch of money with the cars, I would purchase them in cash. The only situation I would not, and I'm not doing this, would be if I'm starting a car rental business, okay, a direct business. But I see these as fun. A car is fun, and for me, it's a placeholder for money. So the reason, and to make it, again, very simple, I buy them in cash, and it doesn't matter that I buy them in cash because I can pull that money out. And let me explain. Someone might say you should leverage so that you have your money sitting so that you could use it for an investment. Well, if an investment comes up, I can immediately, and I will, go sell my cars because at the end of the day, the business is first. I haven't sunk $600,000 into my cars in total just to have it sit there and I'm going to own those forever. The cars I have, I will not own forever. These are just simply things that actually some of them make me money. I'll make money on the GTR, the Audi R8. I will make money because I'm kind of flipping it. So I'm able to roughly break even, especially when you factor in the ad revenue on YouTube, which isn't really much, but it does help, have fun with that. So for me, if I'm able to put my money somewhere and wait for that investment, because I really do practice patience when it comes to the investments I make. I really wait to find that perfect deal, and then again, I strike and I buy it. So let's kind of talk about that, because that's going to be the main point, and I'll make a separate video if you want me to break down real estate, the single family units, the duplexes, and exactly what I'm buying and how it's all structured. But this right here, this is the key to a lovely home that I will soon be renting to hopefully an amazing family. It is in I kid you not, a white picket fence neighborhood. So imagine when you look at something in a movie that shows like a family back in the 1950s in like the most beautiful, safe neighborhoods. That's exactly what this is. This is a single family property. Now, the reason that I finance all of the real estate that I purchase is for leverage. I want to be able to buy multiple properties. There's also a lot of advantages to doing that. First of all, interest rates really aren't that high. So if you get a fixed rate 30-year mortgage at anything under like 4.5%, and I'm under that, I'm just above 4 on most of them, it's basically free money, okay? It'd be great if you were in like the mid 3s, but like around 4 is almost like a free loan with inflation and everything factored in. So my thought process behind it is I can go get multiple. And the cool thing with real estate, if you didn't know, let's say I buy 3 houses to rent out, right? My goal with them is not to flip them. It's not to sell it quick and make a profit. It's to hold them for multiple years, rent them to someone, make a little bit of money in the meantime, and hopefully let it appreciate, right? If that's the scenario, let's say you can only get approved for financing for 2 houses, just as an example. Well, you could probably get approved for a third if you're structuring those houses as investments, because what you can do, if you're planning on renting out one of those houses, you could buy 2 first, get a tenant in there, and now you can use that lease, right? Maybe a 12-month lease or whatever it is, that person's rental agreement as proof of more income, because that direct rent counts towards your top line income. So it's a really cool structure. There's a lot of amazing things you can do inside of real estate. But for me, it's also a huge piece when it comes to building credit and having history. I don't really think there's anything better than having a house that has been paid off. I mean, that would look amazing on your credit history, but it's a really legitimate purchase, and to get that is hard. So when you have something like that on your credit file where it shows an active mortgage and good history of paying that, it's definitely going to look good. And there's a lot of other benefits to that as well. Credit cards, you can get approved for more cards. You're going to have more history and be much better off. Okay. Not to mention from the real estate perspective, again, this is a separate video, but all of the tax advantages, everything of that nature. So again, these are really the only 2 things I've bought that cost a crazy amount of money. Again, I know I mentioned like the flights, you could technically finance that, or if you buy a new laptop, you could. Most of that stuff for me is a write-off anyways, so I just go ahead and purchase it outright, or I use points for my credit cards from a business spending. So it's really simple. Now when it comes to like clothes, I don't know if you could finance clothes. I actually get most of mine for free. Shout out to my buddy Dennis Yu. This is his company. I don't know, he gave me a bunch of shirts, so I'm gonna wear them. But I hope that makes sense on the breakdown structure. A lot of people say it's better to just buy something in cash or just finance, and there's always the very, very strong side of either. Like put down 0% and put down 100%. You have people like Dave Ramsey out here telling people that all debt is bad, and to me, it sounds like the stupidest shit I've ever heard. And I understand his situation. I've looked into it. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's a big guy on like TV and whatnot, talking about how debt is bad. Well, it's just because he screwed up. In the last crash, the market crash, he got rinsed in real estate because he was over leveraged. That's his fault. So I don't fully agree with that. I think you should put down a solid amount, but in real estate, in that side of it, I do like to finance, purchase that, and it does allow me to have a little bit more wiggle room because I'm not buying it in cash to quickly jump on another deal. Now, buying a house is not going to be as quick of a process as buying a car. You could buy a car in 20 minutes. Buying a house, you got inspections, you got appraisals, you got to go through the whole process. You got to go, grab the title, you got to fill out all the paperwork. It can be a multiple month process. Usually the quickest is going to be a week or 2, and that'd be very fast. So I can have time. If there's a real estate property I like, I can start entering into it. And if I need to, I could go sell a car, and I could sell a car that quickly if I had to pull cash out. So that's something for me where it makes sense. Whereas if I'd bought a piece of real estate in cash, it might take time to sell that or to refinance it and pull the money out to then go buy another property. So it just makes more sense for me to structure it like that. But if you guys have any questions at all, make sure to drop it in the comment section down below. Again, this is just a personal opinion type thing. Everybody's going to be different. I'm not hating on it just because I don't agree with, just buying all real estate in cash or the other way. Doesn't mean it doesn't work for some people. There's people who make money, and stupid amounts of money, by the way, in every situation. So just figure out what works for you, what makes you the most comfortable and allows you to grow the quickest. Analyze that situation, make it your reality, and then run with it. I probably would have purchased a vehicle like the Lamborghini, which was always like a really cool dream car of mine. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I probably would have bought that a lot sooner if my philosophy had been to finance it. So again, I bought the BMW because it is still an expensive vehicle, but I bought that. It wasn't anywhere near as crazy as a Lamborghini. I got that when I was 17. I was going to get the Lamborghini like right around that point. So if I had financed, I could have done it just fine, but buying it in cash wouldn't have been smart. So I waited a little bit over a year before I purchased it. And the reason for that is way before I made any purchase, any cars, any real estate, spent money on anything, built my credit, got a credit card, I knew how I wanted to structure it. So it's never too young and it's never too late to start. If you're 15 years old, you can totally start figuring this stuff out now. In fact, that's going to give you a huge, huge advantage. And if you're on the other side where maybe you're 20 years old, 30, 40, 50, maybe you're 80 years old watching this, shout out to you, by the way, if you are. Well, you now have all this history. You probably have a good credit file built up. You have history behind it, so that will work in your favor as well. So it's never too late. It's never a bad situation to start. Just put yourself in that position. It might take some time, but keep working hard on it. If there's ever anything I can do to help you, please do let me know what it is in the comment section down below. And with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like down below. My goal is always to be transparent with you guys about things like this because, again, and I've said it before, I will say it again, the reason you can go all the way back on my YouTube channel, like 700 videos ago, and see this. The reason I started filming videos was to create content that was not available 4 years ago, 5 years ago when I was first getting into the business world. So, I would have loved for someone to explain this, explain how much they got their cars for and like the tax benefits of this and that, write-offs, real estate. So I really do hope that this answers some questions. I even love making this because I learn more about it as I talk about it, okay? So again, I'd greatly appreciate it if you guys smash that like button down below. Make sure to join the family by subscribing. And with that being said, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.